This is NTA Nationwide on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. My name is Femi Johnson and thanks for joining us. President Muhammadu Buhari has sworn in Justice Walter Onoge as the new Chief Justice of Nigeria. He takes over from Justice Mahmood Mohammed, who is retiring. President Buhari urged the judiciary to restore Nigeria's past glory. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari also says he looks forward to working together with the United States of America's President-elect Donald Trump to strengthen already established friendly relations between both countries. In a congratulatory message, the President indicated that bilateral relations will further focus on many shared foreign policy priorities, such as fight against terrorism, peace and security, economic growth, democracy, and good governance, while extending his good wishes to the U.S. President-elect on the honorary task of leading the world's strongest economy. President Buhari also congratulated American citizens for a true demonstration of democracy. And as reactions continue to trail the election of Republican candidate Donald Trump as the 45th American president, guests on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria have stressed the need for all to cooperate with the president-elect in order to achieve a better intergovernment relationship. The guests said this while discussing the topic, prospects of Trump's presidency. Oyeyemi Ajayi has the details.
I've just received a call from Secretary Clinton.
The election of Donald Trump as the 45th president of the United States has attracted different reactions. This ranging from the congratulatory messages sent to the president-elect by world leaders to the protest by some Americans who are not happy with the emergence of Donald Trump as the next president.
Overnight, the immigration website of the Canadian government actually crashed on account of people who are, on a whim deciding that they're emigrating out of the U.S. because of the situation.
While discussing the prospects of Trump's presidency, some of the guests believe that Donald Trump cannot rule as the president of the United States in isolation as it needs other countries.
American greatness should not only centered around the U.S., but should be seen globally as a model that should be copied. And in this case, therefore, people should look up to Trump as somebody who triumphed for the goodness of America, and this should now translate in also for the best in global relations.
Talking about the challenges Trump is likely to face, especially the American foreign policy, as well as interest of Trump's presidency for Africa, other guests have this to say.
There are other foreign policy issues also. South Korea, North Korea, nuclear weapons, Iran, and all that. These are all divisive issues within the American foreign policy establishment. But I don't know how he's going to navigate his way through these obstacles that are already in his way.
The one important thing Hillary said also in her concession speech is she would stand by him to make sure he becomes a great president. What that does is it's saying, Donald Trump, our eyes are on you. We would not allow you to divide our country.
The guests were unanimous in their views that though Hillary Clinton has become a woman to anticipate becoming the first female president of the United States, it is quite hopeful that America will one day have a female president. In Abuja, Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
From American election to Nigeria's election, which will be coming up in Ondo State, as APC's national chairman, John Odige Oyegun, says, the performance of APC government at federal and state levels is enough evidence to ensure the party's victory in the forthcoming election in Ondo State. Chief Oyegun stated this at APC rally in Akure.
They are here to let you know how important Ondo State is to the federal government. They are here to let you know how valuable Aketi is in the politics of this country. They are here to tell you that Ondo State has been a key player in this country.
I've answered the call of this party, and I'm sure with your support, we will be victorious this time around.
APC governorship candidate Rotimi Akeredolu. And we move to economic matters now, where the Minister of Budget and National Planning, Udoma, says the federal government is committed to implementing both short and medium-term plans designed for the nation's economic recovery and also sustainable growth. It was at the National Economic Retreat on Development of Medium-Term National Plan between 2017 and 2020. Kenneth Nanim reports.
Minister Udo Udoma explained that the 2016 budget provided clear economic vision and direction of the federal government, of which the strategic implementation plan includes adequate consultation with both public and private sector.
We'll also consult with the states. We'll consult with development partners. And we'll also consult with the National Assembly. At the end of it, we will now launch this document, which puts together all the policies and programs of the government.
He assured that the federal government has the political will to implement in all economic ideas that will emanate from the retreat, having set in motion adequate machineries that will stimulate the business environment for an inclusive participation. For the participants, the retreat will involve new roadmap to overcoming their present economic recession and fast-track the nation to a more sustainable economic growth by the year 2020. In Abuja, Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
Meanwhile, a World Bank delegation is in Nigeria to conduct preliminary consultation with relevant agencies of government on ways to further empower the women. Timothy Yusuf reports on the delegation's visit to the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment.
The World Bank delegation's mandate is basically to examine key barriers militating against women empowerment in Nigeria with a view to finding solutions to them. Leader of the delegation, a social development specialist, Paula Uskategu, explained that the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment is key in harnessing the potentials of women towards self-sufficiency. On the whole, the team identified poor value chain addition, non-involvement of the private sector, and poor financing as major challenges confronting women empowerment.
We're here in a learning mode, in a listening mode, and we hope that towards the end of this mission we will have a better sense of the lay of the land in this issue, but also of potential solutions in which the bank can contribute to.
The Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, Aminu Aliu Bisala, on behalf of the Minister, Dr. Okechukwu Enelama, told the visitors that the Buhari administration is committed to the empowerment of women, considering their critical role in the family. He said government is already investing in special economic programs across the country. This, he explained, is in addition to the ministry's growth and empowerment project, which is already liberating the women folk out of poverty.
Nigeria is blessed with so many agricultural produce, which we've identified through the Export Promotion Council that are needed all over the world. Now the question, how do we channel from this informal level, from this productive stage, through to the export level? Issue of quality is there, issue of packaging is there. So those are the areas that we seriously need assistance.
The ministry and the World Bank team promised to deepen the conversation geared towards moving Nigeria's women to the next level. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Also, the House Committee on Science and Technology has expressed satisfaction with the way the National Space Research and Development Agency, NASDRA, judiciously expended its 2016 appropriated funds in developing science and technology facilities, especially Nigeria's first educational satellite, WOM. Chimdima Ndebisi reports that the committee, while on oversight at the agency, learned that when the nano satellite is launched in 2017, it will serve as atmospheric parameters for monitoring climate change and will also be useful in technology transfer for engineers and scientists. The chairman therefore recommended that more funds be released for the completion of pending projects.
Projects were not just on paper, but we actually saw them physically. We saw what's going on in the dome. We saw the improvement there. We've seen what's going on in the ground receiving station, the incubation center, which is on course. There's a lot of expansion and improvement in science and technology.
The Space Incubation Center is being built so that the spin-offs from space activities will be made available there, that the private sector can pick up, commercialize, and sell to the general public.
Meanwhile, Nigeria joins the rest of the world to mark World Science Day, when scientists demonstrate their latest researches, science shows, and exhibitions based on themes and concepts. The World Science Day is conceived by the United Nations to strengthen public awareness on the role of science in providing solutions to human problems. Science correspondent Kirian Umayo reports.
The objective of World Science for Peace and Development is to promote national and international solidarity and shared science between countries and renewed commitment for the use of science for the benefit of societies. In Nigeria, the focus is on the younger generation of scientists who are being encouraged by the Minister of Science and Technology to strengthen their interest in science, mathematics, and innovation.
Cannot talk about diversification of the economy without encouraging the science, the study of science and technology.
The theme of this year's Science Day is celebrating science centers and museums as platforms for dialogue, understanding, and resilience.
We are now witnessing situations where from the primary school, secondary school, up to tertiary levels, people are appreciating science, are applying science, are using science in their day-to-day activities.
Students from different secondary schools exhibited their projects, which include waste management plant, renewable energy biogas plant, water purification project using moringa oleifera seeds, and stabilized brick making. Scientists celebrate this year's Science Day in Nigeria with mixed feelings, drawing attention to the challenges of poor funding of scientific endeavor. Kirian Umayo, NTA News.
The National Mathematical Center has appealed to the legislature to make and also enact a law that will be beneficiary to TED Fund. Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Center, Professor Stephen Ona, made the plea when the Senate Committee on Tertiary Education and TED Fund visited the Center on Oversight Function. Abdullahi Musa Suleja reports.
The National Mathematical Center is an inter-university center for mathematics with a mandate to develop appropriate initiatives and resources of international standing for the awakening and sustaining interest in mathematical sciences and their application at all levels of Nigerian education system. These, the director said, have been pursued with its infrastructure in dilapidating condition, coupled with inadequate funding. Professor Ona said the center was delisted from the TED Fund, which greatly hampers its operations.
The center has had to grapple with constraints ranging from low funding to low patronage by stakeholders.
Chairman of the committee, Brao Jibulu, said the Senate will look at the complaint with a view to addressing it.
We're encouraged by the zeal of the Chief Executive Director to see that proper things are done to really put the center in the best shape and place to discharge its mandate.
Similarly, the chairman of the committee, Brao Jibulu, promised to assist University of Abuja attend the status of an institution befitting the nation's capital. This was when the committee undertook an oversight function to University of Abuja. The Vice Chancellor, Professor Michael Adiku, said the university deserves special attention in the areas of infrastructural development, academic upgrade, and the employment of requisite staff. In Abuja, Abdullahi Musa Suleja, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the federal government has donated 70 tons of medical supplies worth about 150 million naira to the Cameroonian government to assist the victims of the train accident at Eseka, which occurred on the 21st of September. The goods were delivered by a special envoy led by Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Khadija Bukar Abba Ibrahim, and was received by the Prime Minister of Cameroon on behalf of President Paul Biya. In a statement signed by Director of Media and Public Relations, Minister of Health, Bade Akintola, the Prime Minister expressed appreciation to President Muhammadu Buhari for identifying with Cameroon at this period when 80 lives were lost to the train accident and about 700 people injured. Represented by the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Health, Professor Isaac, and also the Minister of Health, noted that all the drugs donated were manufactured in Nigeria by indigenous pharmaceutical companies. He said the goal is to make Nigerian companies compete favorably with their foreign counterparts and make the products acceptable in the global market. We now join our Lagos Center for updates on lecture on women and HIV. Vera is on standby for this and more. Good afternoon, Vera. It's good to see you.
Good to have you join us here in Lagos. Nigeria has developed a robust rural electrification policy plans with more emphasis on harnessing the potentials of micro-hydro dams. Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, disclosed this at the ongoing European Union Nigeria Business Forum in Lagos. Abdullahi Mohammed reports.
Bearing in mind that the forum was a pool of decision makers representing various multinationals in the global power sector, the Minister of Power, Works and Housing rolled out the details of the rural electrification plans. He said the initiative will focus on boosting agriculture and education, with some Nigerian universities driving the process.
This is a plan that you can invest in because we're ready, we don't know it, we know how many plants we need to build. As I said, the 37, out of these 37, 9 of them are gas plants, 28 of them are solar plants. They will generate a combined capacity of 120 megawatts of power because that is what the audit result produce as a demand.
The minister also made a case for investment in the power distribution and generation companies.
We need investments also for promoters who are trying to develop solar power, coal energy, and other forms.
Despite the challenges associated with the power sector in Nigeria, many investors have remained committed to the sector.
If you total the overall investment, or we say exposure, to Nigerian energy sector for the World Bank Group, it's about $1.5 billion today.
We really had the feeling that we should do more in terms of economic cooperation and bringing more than public or ODA, or overseas development aid to Nigeria, but rather bring investments.
And with the European Union committing 150 million euro to the power sector in Nigeria, analysts say the future is bright. In Lagos, Abdullah Mohammed, NT News.
The federal government has threatened to revoke the licenses of inland container depot operators who fail to live up to expectations and terms contained in a new agreement signed recently with the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission. Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Shippers Council, Hassan Bello, gave the warning at a meeting with ICD concessionaires in Lagos. Musa Taliat completes the report.
The Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Shippers Council, Hassan Bello, said the federal government is committed to bringing out consistent policies that will ensure that all the inland dry ports become ports of origin. He noted that some of the concessionaires have not shown enough commitment to invest in the development of the inland container depot. He, however, added that the federal government would not hesitate to terminate the concession agreement with such concessionaires.
Substantial cargo is delivered inland, and so we need to have platforms for their delivery. The government will incentivize, the private sector. It will give the enabling environment. But the government also will expect nothing but responsible private sector. And new agreements are going to be signed. And we are going to be very, very strict, keeping with the timelines.
The ICD concessionaires expressed satisfaction with federal government's move to strengthen the dry ports and make them viable for economic development.
We are good to go by next year. We should be ready to start operations. We need encouragement from the government. We need encouragement from the community. And then, of course, the concessionaire himself. So it's something we have to put heads together.
The Inland Container Depot is an initiative of the federal government aimed at decongesting the seaports and reducing cost of transportation in the maritime sector. In Lagos, Musa Toliad, NTA News.
Empowerment and protection of women and adolescent girls against HIV infection is said to be a panacea for reducing the risk of mother-to-child transmission and cut down on the population of HIV-infected persons in Nigeria. This was the focus of distinguished lecture series of the Nigerian Institute of Medical Research held in Lagos.
Research findings reveal that women and adolescent girls are more prone to HIV infection due to their high level of fertility, adolescent pregnancies, poverty, among other related factors. They are also said to be the most marginalized and oppressed group in the society. Deputy Director, Research and Consultant Obstetrician and Gynecologist, Nigerian Institute of Medical Research, Dr. Oliver Ezechi, says cervical cancer in women is a common cause of death among the HIV-positive women. This is said prompted the World Health Organization's recommendation for the integration of cervical cancer screening into the HIV treatment programs as prevention and control strategy. Dr. Ezechi identifies stigma and discrimination as a major challenge of HIV-positive women. He recommended federal government's passage of the Stigma and Discrimination Bill, currently before the National Assembly, to reduce the percentage of HIV infection in Nigeria.
Because of that stigma and discrimination, when they are positive, they are not likely to come out to access for care. At the end of the day, they might end up dying, even when the services are readily available.
Director General Nigerian Institute of Medical Research, Babatunde Salako, says the institution diagnosed 24,000 cases of HIV. This figure, he says, has been reduced by 5%.
It was also reduced the transmission rate, and one major way is from mother to child.
The distinguished lecture series titled That She May Survive and Bring Forth an AIDS-Free Generation is the Nigerian Institute of Medical Research's contribution to the fight against HIV infection in Nigeria.
And these are stories from Lagos. I hand you over to Femi in Abuja for more on Nationwide.
Thank you, Vera. The former Chief Justice of Nigeria, Mahmood Mohammed, has called on the nation's judiciary to remain committed to its constitutional duties and also restore integrity in its courts through the implementation of its transparency and anti-corruption policy. He made the call at the special valedictory court session held to mark his retirement as the Chief Justice of Nigeria. Judiciary correspondent Femi Okewo reports.
We were spared of a reenactment of the June 12th saga, as I made no apologies to the firm stand we took in all our decisions. I'm proud to be part of the Supreme Court, which refused to be cowed into truncating the electoral process. I'm proud to have headed this noble arm of government and steering it through some very stormy waters. I'm proud of the Nigerian judiciary.
Hearing him say this, one would think that he was talking about the current happenings in the judiciary. No. He was referring to what the judiciary did to stabilize the 2015 elections when an attempt was being made to exclude President Muhammadu Buhari from contesting the 2015 elections. Justice Mahmood Mohammed said such is the responsibility of the judiciary to the Nigerian people and called on those he was leaving behind to engender greater confidence of the people in the third arm of government. Attorney General of the Federation described Justice Mahmood Mohammed's service as distinguished yet humble.
Influenced the evolution of our judiciary and impacted our country in a very profound manner.
Justice Mohammed, as chairman of the Federal Judicial Service Commission, has overseen the implementation of the new guidelines for the appointment of judicial officers.
Others said his exit should help galvanize respect for the rule of law in Nigeria.
Now we all know we have a problem in the law profession in which the bar and the bench are involved.
I will try to make sure that we keep the judiciary as best as it could, so that we'll produce more of people like him.
These may be trying times for the nation's judiciary, but the attendance at this function seems to acknowledge that the judiciary remains the stabilizing factor for the nation's polity. And for the exiting Chief Justice of Nigeria, his contribution to this arm of government is immensely recognized. From the Supreme Court, Femi Okewo, NTA News.
The police and Nigerian Air Force have jointly completed a 12-week intensive cannon handling training course to complement other strategies in fighting terrorism and other vices in the country. Assistant Inspector General of Police, Anambra Branch, AIG Charles Ogomunu, said dogs have innate instincts to detect and recognize dangers in the environment when trained well.
4 Air Force officers and 15 other ranks participated in the training led by the Nigeria Police Force Animal Branch.
We are witnessing a new trend of terrorism and other organized crimes. Trained dogs are indispensable in the deployment of sniffing of IEDs, narcotics, arms and ammunition, airport luggage compartments, among others.
And in another development, the police have paraded 18 suspects involved in pipeline vandalism and impounded 2 vessels and 20 trucks loaded with stolen petroleum product in Lagos. Force Public Relations Officer Don Awuna said the arrest was made possible following a credible intelligence by the IGP's Special Task Force on Petroleum and Illegal Bunkering.
Meanwhile, more than 100 suspected cattle rustlers accepted peace deal presented to them by Katsina State government to lay down their arms and embrace dialogue as a means of restoring peace and security in southern Katsina senatorial zone. The breakthrough was reached at a one-day peace talk with officials of Katsina State government and the suspects at their location in Madali Forest. Bashir Ibrahim Nababa completes the report.
This is Madachi Forest in Sabo local government area of Katsina State, considered as the headquarters of suspected cattle rustlers, which has been known for cattle rustling. Communities in southern Katsina senatorial zone have been under siege for more than 6 years due to activities of these criminal elements. Lives and property worth millions of naira have been destroyed, forcing some communities to become refugees in their country. Series of efforts have been launched by security operatives to rid the area of these criminals. The renewed commitment to restore peace and security in the area was initiated by Governor Amini Bello Masari, represented by the Secretary to Katsina State Government, Dr. Mustafa Muhammad Inwa. Governor Masari urged the leadership of Meeti Allah Cattle Breeders Association to end the extermination of innocent people.
For these people to lay their arms, surrender their arms to government, and also release the livestock that is under with them, which do not belong to them.
Renouncing their membership through their leaders, the rustlers were unanimous in their resolve to end what they described as hostilities towards host communities and called on government to provide them with social amenities and raise the routes for free movement among their members.
Now, communities of these areas can now go to bed and sleep with their eyes closed.
The chairman, Meeti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, Katsina State Chapter, Manuel Atiku, described crimes perpetrated as alien to the Fulani culture and request a holistic approach to overcome the phenomenon. In Katsina, Bashir Ibrahim Nababa, NTA News.
The plight of internally displaced persons in Nigeria has continued to attract the attention of groups. One of the groups is the West African College of Nursing, who says they will continue to respond to the health needs of internally displaced persons. Olayinka Ojo has more.
Whatever you do to the least of my brothers, that you do unto me.
The members of West African College of Nursing say they have followed the ravaging effects of insurgency on the people, which is why they decided to visit the new Kuchuguru IDPs camp, where they donated relief materials to the people.
Caring is the essence of nursing. So we can't, keep a deaf ear to it. We have to come and demonstrate, exactly.
Head New Kuchuguru IDPs camp, Philemon Emmanuel, and the secretary of the camp, Enoch Johanna, who appreciated the nurses for the gesture, appealed to them to assist in rendering free health services, which remains a major challenge in the camp.
When we have a patient, we doesn't have somewhere to take it. Because when we went to hospital, if you don't have our money, they will reject us.
One of the major challenges that we always have in the camp is child delivery.
We now go back and then see how, on a voluntary basis, we can, come to assist health-wise.
So many things
again, are involved in people's health, such as environment.
With the new Kuchigoro IDPs camp having over 1,500 displaced persons, members of West African College of Nursing believe that if more people show solidarity to the displaced, some succor would have been given to those in need. In Abuja, Olayinka Ojo, NTA News.
Minister of Women Affairs takes journalists to task on dedication to duty. For details of these and more, let's join Ruth in our Jos Center. Hello, Ruth. It's over to you.
Hello, Femi. Thank you and welcome to Jos. Women have been urged to take advantage of the loan facility by the federal government as part of strategies to ameliorate poverty. The Minister of Women Affairs stated this when she visited Plateau State. Priscilla Gumnan reports.
To better the lives of Nigerians, especially women, and also boost the economy, the present administration has set up modalities through the Government Enterprise and Empowerment Program, GEEP, which is one of the federal government's initiatives. The GEEP program is targeted at vulnerable and impoverished people, and it is being spearheaded by the Ministry of Women Affairs. Some of the objectives of the program, the minister explained, is to provide microcredit loans, reduce poverty, assist in rebuilding economies, and stronger partnership with states, development partners, and the Bank of Industry.
GEEP is for both men and women who are artisans, farmers, market women, traders, petty traders, or entrepreneurs. Each beneficiary can get between 10 and 100,000 as loan repayable in 6 months.
Hajia Aisha emphasized that the loan is for both men and women and has no interest. Wife of the Plateau State Governor, Mrs. Regina Lalong, described the GEEP program as a welcome initiative that would transform the lives of women.
The Plateau State Government, through the Ministry of Women Affairs, has and is still involved in skill acquisition and vocational training programs for women.
Plateau State Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Development, Mrs. Rufina Grumien, saluted the commitment of the federal and state governments to economically empower women at grassroots. Goodwill messages came from stakeholders, while participants drawn from various spheres of the state raised questions about the scheme. In Jos, Priscilla Grumnan, NTA News.
The Bongwam Jos star Jacob Gyang Buba says the education sector is very critical to the development of youth and should not be seen as a mere money-making venture. The royal father said this when he received at his palace members of Plateau State chapter of the National Association of Proprietors of Private Schools. Ashezi Gopep has this one.
The Bongom Jos, who is also a member of the association, was appreciative of the visit and their involvement in education. He, however, warned against engaging in corrupt practices and appealed to them to add value to lives of young people.
It is not enough just to have an intelligent person, male or female. But the art of teaching goes beyond just the normal intelligence.
The royal father also commended communities that have taken up the challenge to complement government efforts through the establishment of community day secondary schools. President of the state chapter of the National Association of Proprietors of Private Schools, Mr. Ezekiel Ayuba Sabo, called for synergy with the Ministry of Education and the Traditional Council to ensure that schools are established based on the needs of the host communities.
We are solidly behind the ministry to ensure that the number of private schools in the state is known and to also achieve quality and standard.
Members of Nigeria Academy of Neurological Surgeons were also at the Bongom's Palace to intimate him on the Academy's 7th Annual Scientific Conference and Meeting, which will hold in Jos. In Jos, Ashezi Gopet, NTA News.
And that's it from Jos. Femi, it's back to you.
Thank you, Ruth. We now take a short break. Nationwide resumes shortly. Don't go away.
From what we have seen,
we have the capacity which we can rapidly develop or feed ourselves. If we don't import rice, we stop importing corn and other grains, Nigeria will have plenty of money to invest into developing industries, especially manufacturing, textiles and so on, and develop iron and steel, and complement the infrastructure development. So really, the opportunities are virtually limitless, and we are very, very aware of this, and we are prepared to exploit it to the fullest.
On a white sheet of exam paper, I am calm like a sniper, bam like a piper, glam like a rapper. I'm never a slacker.
Fail like a failure.
How was your result?
This wicked girls here gave me.
Then give me.
They gave me 7 E's.
This week on your award-winning comedy series, Professor John Bull, starring Kanayo Okanayo, Mercy Johnson, Queen Wokoye, Yomi Fash Lanso, Stephen Odingbe.
Address me as the Ono. My title is waiting for me.
Oh no, we're waiting.
Ono. Mr. Owowu. No, I can't take that. Olowu. Hey, I don't like all this.
What is that name they call you all over the campus?
Flashball with a big splash, depending on how you want to lash.
Big name that kills a small dog.
Professor John Bull, fasten your seatbelts this Tuesday and Friday, 8:30 to 9 p.m. on NTA Network, International, and Star Times. It's absolutely bombastic.
Over and out.
Welcome to the new speed of life. Do you know that importing consumables and domestic products kill local manufacturing and negatively affect the growth of the economy? That some imported products are dangerous to your health? That building factories can generate massive employment and grow the economy? Buying locally made products and services means investing back in the economy. Thousands of Nigerians are innovative and can take Nigeria to the next level. Growing the economy starts with you and I. Raise the standard. Grow the economy. Buy Made in Nigeria. Our latest edition of TV Guide is out. This edition of your favorite magazine will simply blow your mind. The package is loaded, and our offering is quite illuminating. NTA has a new Director General, Yakubu Ibn Muhammad, a tested and trusted professional, an old wine that keeps getting better with age. This is the new driver of the digital switch over train. Get to know him more in TV Guide. And now, on our cover is one of Nigeria's finest comic actors, Afiz Oyetoro, aka Saka. Peep into his world and you will see how he is putting from glory to glory. The change agenda of President Muhammadu Buhari, we did an assessment so far. All our refreshing columns and incisive features are a collector's item and research materials. TV Guide, available on your newsstands and in all NTA stations nationwide. Also, in our embassies in United Kingdom, USA, China, Ghana, and Egypt. TV Guide. Grab a copy and give one to a friend. TV Guide. Still your indispensable companion.
Hear the call of change. Stand up, Nigeria. Change is here and it's going to stay. Change begins with you. Oh yeah, make we go. So let the change begin from within. Look at you, Ogeruola. Change begins with you and me. Change begins with me. Change begins with me. Change begins with me.
You are still on NTA Nationwide, and you can watch this news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. About 4,000 youths as well as 140 cooperative societies in the nation's capital have been granted a total of 1.9 billion naira loans by the FCT administration to grow their small and medium-scale businesses in the last 2 years. Managing Director, Abuja Enterprise Agency, Arabi Tuko, disclosed this at a media briefing in Abuja to mark 10 years of the agency's existence. Mitari reports.
According to the AEA director, the loans were disbursed courtesy of the Central Bank of Nigeria's 220 billion naira Micro and Medium Enterprise Development Fund meant for the Federal Capital Territory. He said the CBN loan, which is a revolving fund that can still be assessed in the next 3 years by youth entrepreneurs in the FCT, has impacted various sectors including agriculture, cottage industries, and education.
The agency established a cassava processing center capable of processing 12 tons of cassava per day. This center serves an association of 100 cassava farmers in Chikuku, domiciled in Kwali Area Council.
Through its One Village, One Product initiative, the Abuja Enterprise Agency, which is the FCT's vehicle for entrepreneurial development, is planning to establish an agricultural product processing center in at least 10 FCT communities on a quarterly basis. In Abuja, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
And from Akwa Ibom State, socio-economic activities in the state have been crippled due to scarcity and hike in price of petrol.
The NNPC and the federal government have consistently said there is no plans to increase petrol pump price above 145 naira. But in Akwa Ibom State, fuel is sold between 180 naira and 200 naira against government's order. However, the ugly incident of fuel scarcity reared up again with no tangible cause. A drive around the state capital revealed that most stations are not dispensing, while those who dispense sell the product between 180 naira and 200 naira per litre.
At the moment, I don't know what could be the reason. Yesterday I bought 200, today is 180.
I feel so bad. The situation is so bad that you can see the kind of suffering that are subjecting us to.
Whatever is causing the sudden increase in the price of fuel should be amended.
No official pronouncement has been made as the actual cause of the scarcity, but the Akwa Ibom State Chairman, Independent Petroleum Marketers Association, Mr. Nsebon Omana, attributed it to the disagreement between tanker drivers and Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps.
This problem is only in Akwa Ibom State. It doesn't extend to other states. It's between the civil defense and the PTD. I'm speaking on behalf of marketers in Akwa Ibom State, that the problem is not from marketers, never.
The Akwa Ibom State Commandant, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Mrs. Obiadulu Obiagele, says there is no rift nor dispute between the civil defense and tanker drivers.
I want to use this opportunity to tell everybody that civil defense has nothing to do with the present predicament. They are suffering from the petroleum tankers and the Ipman. Naturally, we are commissioned to do our job. We are mandated to stamp out economic sabotage. We did not do anything rash outside what we are supposed to do.
As at the time of filing this report, the NNPC, Mega, as well as their franchise stations, were also not dispensing petroleum products. Therefore, the people are appealing to relevant government authorities to mediate as Christmas season is around the corner. In Uyo, Nsika Okon, NTA News.
And from Uyo, let's join Chegono in Enugu studio for more nationwide. Hello, Chegono.
Contractors handling federal government projects have been urged to expedite action in completing such projects on time to actualize government intention of providing uninterrupted power supply. The chairman, House of Representatives Committee on Power, Dan Asukwo, stated this during an inspection tour of ongoing power projects in Isukwato, Abia State. Chika Ugu was there.
Awarded in 2001 by the federal government is aimed at ensuring constant electricity supply to improve the people's standard of living. To this end, the House Committee on Power embarked on an inspection tour to power transmission centers in the southeast to ascertain the state of the projects. The chairman of the committee regretted that the power project awarded 15 years ago is yet to reach a commendable state.
Power problems, which of course is one of the teething problems in Nigeria today. By our legislative interventions, we can actually solve some of these issues that are properly affecting the power situation in Nigeria.
The Managing Director, Transmission Company of Nigeria, Mr. Tom Onyekachi Umar, explained that inconsistent funding is one of the challenges delaying the completion of the projects. Meanwhile, some contractors regretted that residents of the area have insisted on compensation for their lands and have refused to move their shrine located at the sites.
We have a problem of funding, but not much is being resolved by the new management of TCN now.
The committee proceeded on a courtesy visit to the governor of Enugu State, Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, where it solicited the governor's support in addressing the issue of non-cooperation by the people. The committee is set to go on inspection visit to some other substation in the southeast. In Enugu, Chika Ugu, NTA News.
The newly constituted 12-member committee for the actualization of New Haven Nsukka National Integrated Power Project has been inaugurated. Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, while performing the ceremony, charged the members to use their competence and carry out proper investigation to revive the project. Ijoma Ugweke tells us more.
The Nsukka Transmission Project was designed to boost power supply to Nsukka and its environs. The delay in the actualization of the project necessitated the constitution of a committee to investigate and determine the circumstances that led to the abandonment of the project. The committee, which has 2 months to complete its assignment, will ensure all the disputes and litigations relating to the project are resolved.
I am confident that they will deploy their proven competencies, experience and commitment to turn the current situation around and get the project moving forward again.
The chairman of the committee, who spoke on behalf of other members, appreciated efforts of the present administration in the state to ensure the work on the transmission project, which is sponsored by the federal government, is actualized.
The appointment of this committee is an eloquent testimony of the commitment of Enugu state government to ensure that no stone is left unturned in ensuring that our people get the dividends of democracy.
The committee, which has Mr. Ezoha Nnamani as the secretary, is expected to take necessary steps to ensure that the contractor returns and commences work on the project. In Enugu, Ijomu Gweke, NTA News.
The Inspector General of Police, Mr. Ibrahim Idris, has commended the Enugu State government for donating over 50 hectares of land to the Nigerian police force at Agu Ekwebe. Again, Ijomu Gweke tells us more.
The donation of the land along Ugwogo Ekwebe Opi Junction became necessary due to the menace of armed robbers and kidnappers along that axis. The Inspector General of Police, represented by the Commissioner of Police in charge of works, said the establishment of police mobile squad at Agu Ekwebe will check all forms of criminality within the area and enhance security in the state.
I need to the technical team here in Enugu to agree with them. The day I think I come down here for the ground breaking. What I say here, I just going to hear it. That every state is ready for security.
Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, who was represented by his special advisor on security matters, Brigadier General Fred Eze, retired, said the state government is exploring all avenues to fight insecurity in the state, hence the donation of the land.
The technical committee was appointed to locate a suitable site for the project.
The traditional ruler of Ekwebe community, Igwe Nathaniel Ezani, and others from Enugu North Senatorial Zone assured the Nigerian police of their support towards the execution of the project. High point of the event was the official handover of the land to the Inspector General of Police in Enugu, Ijomu Gweke, NTA News.
That report wraps it up from here, Femi. Over now to you for more on Nationwide. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Chair Gano. Creativity, content, and ability to protect rich cultural heritage to attract funds for the production of television and radio programs. This is the consensus view of resource persons at the workshop on financing digital content development organized by the National Broadcasting Commission in Kano. Abdullahi Mustafa reports.
June 17, 2017 is the deadline for broadcast organizations in Nigeria to switch over from analog to digital mode of transmission. Already, preparations have been made by government and other stakeholders to ensure that the deadline is not only met but also make players in the industry cope with the changes the new system brings. One of the latest moves is a workshop on financing digital content development. Organized by the National Broadcasting Organization (NBC), it is designed to expose producers, scriptwriters, and directors in the broadcast and Kannywood House of Film industries to sources of funds for financing their productions. Presentations by various resource persons stress need for players in the broadcast and entertainment industries to project the rich cultures of Nigeria in their productions.
It is clear that if a country puts money into the development of digital broadcasting, every 10% growth in terms of financing you put in your broadcast industry in the digital era can guarantee you about 1 million jobs, 1 million new jobs.
And therefore, considering the benefit inherent in the digital switchover, we should work towards making necessary preparations to make it reliable.
It may not be perfect, but that is what surprises the world about Nigeria. We do fantastic things at short notice. Some would say a crash program. It's time.
Apart from sourcing funds, the workshop is also expected to make participants appreciate the place of content in the scheme of digitization and learn how to take advantage thereof. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
America's democracy deepens as President Barack Obama meets President-elect Donald Trump amidst protests in some cities. These are among global tidbits with Talatu Eziriki.
Since 1921, the United States of America has had 11 rotational presidency, for which the Democrat has 5 with President Barack Obama, while the Republicans with 6, including the president-elect Donald Trump. President Obama, like he enjoyed from George Bush, has extended hands of friendship to the president-elect through an invitation to the White House to discuss how to hand over power smoothly. The two, though not best of friends, have one thing in common: interests of Americans at heart. President Obama has pledged to put aside their differences before Trump takes over office in January. Construction work is already underway for the inauguration of the president-elect at the White House. Meanwhile, anti-Trump protests sweep U.S. cities, attacking the president-elect policies on immigration, gay and reproductive rights. And South Africa's parliament is to debate a vote of no confidence on President Jacob Zuma, accused of misconduct amid growing calls for him to resign. The ruling African National Congress believes the president will come out clean. That is all on Global Tidbits. Talati Ezirike, NTA News.
Under sports, Lafayette Township Stadium to be renovated as former Senate President David Marcus for hand on deck for grassroots sports development. Let's join Kene Magbodike for more on sports updates.
The Nasarawa state government has again promised to